They weren't random, they were assignments. They'll tell you it was just coincidence, that she just happened to enter your life, that he just accidentally broke your heart, that those friends who ghosted you, that was just life. Move on. But that's not the truth, that's the story people tell themselves to avoid looking deeper. Carl Jung didn't believe in randomness. He believed in patterns, archetypes, soul contracts. He believed that life doesn't happen to you, it reveals you. He said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Now pause. What if that breakup wasn't meant to break you, but to break your illusion? What if the betrayal wasn't bad luck, but a divine interruption to pull you out of a toxic timeline? The universe doesn't send people, it sends mirrors. People come into your life to reflect the very thing you're not willing to see, your fears, your wounds, your worth, your patterns. The one who loved you then left? They were showing you how attached you've become to temporary things. The one who manipulated you with tears. They were exposing the part of you that still believes love must be earned through suffering. And the one who walked away without closure. They were teaching you that you are the closure you were searching for. So no, it wasn't random. None of it. It was spiritual surgery. It was your soul calling in exactly what you needed. Not what your ego wanted, but what your evolution demanded. Because sometimes, God doesn't send angels to comfort you. He sends people to trigger you, so that the parts of you that still need healing can no longer hide. This isn't about blame. This is about awakening. Because every person you've ever loved, hated, feared, or obsessed over was never a mistake. They were an assignment, a reflection, a message from your own unconscious, from your own soul, from the parts of you crying out, please, grow. Carl Jung didn't study people. He studied the patterns behind them. And when you start doing the same, you'll stop asking, why did they hurt me? And start asking, what were they trying to teach me? And that shift, that's when the healing begins. That's when you stop surviving the past and start remembering who you were before it. Chapter 1. The universe speaks through people. Carl Jung didn't see people as random faces passing through time. He saw them as messages wrapped in human form. Every person is a mirror, he said, but not the kind you use to check your hair. A deeper mirror, the kind that reflects the parts of your soul you're too afraid to look at, not who you pretend to be, but who you really are, underneath the masks. Let's go deeper. Ever had a stranger say something so specific, so piercing? It felt like the universe spoke through them. That wasn't luck. That wasn't coincidence. That was alignment. That was a soul contract activating at the exact second your soul was ready to hear the truth. Ever fallen in love with someone who lit up your world, only to watch them vanish like smoke? That wasn't betrayal. That was your shadow taking human shape, to show you exactly what you've been suppressing, denying, or refusing to heal. We think we choose people, but more often they're chosen for us, by something far bigger than our plans, by the unconscious. Because the universe doesn't send comfort, it sends clarity. The truth is, people are assignments. Some are gentle guides, who whisper healing into the cracks of your soul when you're too tired to fight. Some are teachers, who challenge your thinking, your patterns, your ego. And some are destroyers with divine permission, sent not to ruin you but to strip away the lies you've built your identity on. They don't show up to make you feel good. They show up to make you see, to make the unconscious conscious, to bring the pain to the surface, so it can finally be transformed. Carl Jung believed that until you face what's within, the world outside will keep sending people to trigger it. Because your soul doesn't want comfort. It wants truth. It wants freedom. It wants wholeness. And sometimes the only way to get there is by walking through the fire someone else lights. But here's the secret most people never realize. The more you heal, the less chaotic the people you attract become. Because as you change internally, the universe stops needing to send teachers in the form of heartbreak, betrayal, or pain. Heal the wound, and the mirror changes. So the next time someone walks into your life, ask yourself, what part of me are they reflecting? What lesson are they here to teach? What truth are they unlocking within me? Because if you're brave enough to ask those questions, You'll stop labeling people as mistakes and start honoring them as messengers, even the painful ones. Chapter 2. They arrive when you're ready to grow. Have you ever stopped to think that every person who's ever entered your life didn't just walk in? They were sent. Carl Jung didn't believe people appeared in your life by coincidence. He believed they were mirrors, not of your surface desires, but of your deepest unconscious truths. Not everyone you meet is there to stay. Not everyone is there to love you, support you, or comfort you. Some are there to expose you, to awaken you, to trigger the part of your soul that's been asleep for too long. Let me explain. You meet someone, a stranger, and they say one sentence that shakes your reality, as if the universe used them as a mouthpiece, as if their presence activated something ancient in you. That's not luck. That's not chance. That's a soul contract coming to life. An agreement your soul made long before your mind could understand it. Now flip the page. Someone enters your life and you fall in love. It feels magical. But slowly, it turns to chaos. You're left heartbroken, confused, doubting your worth. Why? Because that person wasn't sent to complete you. They were sent to reveal you, to shatter your illusions, to crack open the false identity you've clung to for years. Carl Jung called this the work of the shadow. He believed that every part of yourself you refuse to face, every pain, every fear, every lie, gets projected outward. And guess what? The people you meet, they pick up those projections. They become your mirror, showing you everything you've denied. The people who irritate you the most often reflect the very traits you haven't accepted in yourself. The people you obsess over often hold the emotional wounds you've left unhealed, and the people you fear losing the most often point to the void you've been too scared to fill alone. So no, people don't just show up. They are placed strategically, intentionally, spiritually. Some are guides, some are messengers, and some are destroyers with divine permission. They tear down your ego. They rip off the mask. They force you to face the pain you thought you buried. And while it hurts, it's sacred. Because in Jungian psychology, this is the path to individuation, to becoming your whole self, to integrating every lost, broken, or exiled part of your being. You don't become your highest self by reading books. You become your highest self by surviving the people who were sent to challenge your illusions. That friend who betrayed you, they weren't evil. They were a mirror, sent to show you your own abandonment wound. That partner who triggered every insecurity in your chest, they were holding up the mirror your soul had been avoiding, and the ones who walked away without closure, they were the ones teaching you. You are the closure, because no one outside of you can finish what's incomplete inside you. This is why Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Most people spend their entire life running from their triggers, but what if the trigger is the teacher? What if that person you can't forget is still lingering in your energy, not because they're meant to return, but because the lesson they carried hasn't been accepted? Here's the truth. Every human interaction is sacred data. Every relationship is a spiritual classroom, and every heartbreak is a syllabus for transformation. So instead of asking, why did this happen to me? Ask, what is this trying to reveal in me? Because the universe doesn't speak in words, it speaks in people, and when you're finally brave enough to listen, you'll realize you were never being punished. You were being prepared. Chapter 3. The wound is where the light enters. It's easy to hate the ones who hurt you, to replay the betrayal, to resent the silence, to curse the pain. But what if they weren't enemies? What if the people who shattered you were actually sacred messengers, wearing the disguise of chaos? Carl Jung understood this truth better than anyone. He didn't see suffering as punishment. He saw it as a portal. He said, there is no coming to consciousness without pain. Because the soul doesn't evolve through comfort, it evolves through cracks. And the ones who cracked you open, they were never random. They were precisely designed to pull you out of your false self, to burn away the parts of you that were built in fear, in people-pleasing, in survival. Think about it. That person who betrayed your trust? Yes, it burned, but that pain forced you to finally question who you give your energy to. That lover who left you in the dark without answers? that abandonment, it broke you, but it also built you. It taught you to create your own light. To stop depending on someone else's flashlight to find your way. That friend who turned cold when you needed them the most, their absence, it hurt. But it also revealed a painful truth. Not everyone deserves a seat at your healing table. These aren't just stories. They're initiations. They're sacred fires. They're invitations to a deeper self, one that's not defined by who stays, but by who you become when they leave. Because here's the truth Jung taught. The wound is the birthplace of the breakthrough. And the people who wound you, they're the midwives of your transformation. You don't become powerful by being protected from pain. You become powerful by learning how to transmute pain into purpose. Yes, they hurt you, but in doing so, they unlocked doors inside you that would have never opened otherwise. You stopped giving blindly. You stopped tolerating nonsense. You started valuing your presence. You started healing the childhood beliefs that whispered, "You're not enough unless you're needed." So don't curse them. Thank them. Thank them for doing the job your comfort zone refused to do. Thank them for being the storm that tore your roof off, because only then did you look up and remember. You were always meant to build a sky of your own. In Jungian psychology, the shadow isn't your enemy, it's your invitation. And often, it's the people who trigger your shadow the most, who carry the key to your next evolution. So instead of asking, "Why did they hurt me?" ask, "What did their presence awaken in me?" That's where healing begins, not by forgetting what happened, but by remembering what it taught you, and that's how the light gets in. Chapter 4. Souls travel in packs. Have you ever locked eyes with someone for the first time and felt like the conversation already started lifetimes ago? That unexplainable sense of déjà vu, that deep knowing without explanation, as if your soul whispered, "Oh, it's you again." That's not chemistry, that's recognition. That's memory, not of the mind, but of the soul. Carl Jung believed that beneath all individual psyches exists the collective unconscious, a vast spiritual blueprint where soul memories live, untouched by time or space. It's the reason you can meet a complete stranger and feel more safe, more seen, more connected than you've ever felt with someone you've known for years. Because sometimes the body meets for the first time, but the souls have danced before. This isn't fiction. This is resonance. Some souls walk into your life not to teach you something new, but to help you remember what your soul already knows. You say, "I've known you forever," but what you're really saying is, "My soul has been waiting for this reunion." These aren't relationships, these are revelations. Sometimes they last a moment, sometimes they stay for years, and sometimes they come, crack you open, then leave, because their work is done. Soul contracts, agreements made before this life, forged in energy, sealed in purpose. Some are meant to love you, some are meant to trigger you, some are meant to wake you up from the coma of unconscious living. You don't attract them, you remember them. And when that remembrance happens, it's like the universe pauses for a second, everything aligns, the noise fades, and for a brief moment you step outside time into a space your soul has been to before. Jung understood this deeply. He didn't just study minds, he studied timeless bonds. He said, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." And that's exactly what these soul meetings do. They transform you, not always gently, not always beautifully, but always spiritually. Because the soul doesn't crave consistency, it craves growth, and growth often comes wrapped in people who make you feel both completely safe and dangerously awake at the same time. So when you meet someone and everything inside you says, "Something about you feels eternal," trust it. That's not fantasy. That's a contract unfolding. It's the universe reminding you, you're not alone in this journey. You're traveling in a soul pack, scattered across timelines, reunited through purpose, woven together by destiny. These connections are sacred. Honor them, even the ones that ended in tears, because even if the ending was human, the meeting was divine. Chapter 5. Some stay, some teach, some leave. Not every soul that walks into your life is meant to walk with you forever. And that's not failure. That's design. That's soul architecture. Some people come like cherry blossoms, delicate, breathtaking, but brief. Their beauty lies in their impermanence. They show you magic, then disappear with the wind, not to hurt you, but to remind you, nothing truly beautiful can be possessed, only experienced. Then there are those who arrive like storms, unpredictable, violent, raw. They don't ask for permission. They shatter your old self to pieces. But when they leave behind clarity, strength, and foundations you never had before. And then there are the roots, the invisible ones, the souls who don't always say much, but they hold you quietly in your darkest hours. They stay beneath the surface, carrying your weight when you forget how to stand. Carl Jung believed that every soul we meet plays a symbolic role, that there are no coincidences, only inner projections meeting outer reflections. Your visions will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakes. And relationships, all of them, are invitations to wake up. But here's the trap most of us fall into. We try to make everyone permanent. We cling to cherry blossoms and expect them to grow roots. We beg the storm to stay, even though its work is already done. We confuse teachers for soulmates and lessons for lifelong contracts. But the universe doesn't work that way. It sends people based on your level of consciousness. And once the message is delivered, they might leave, because the mission is complete. Don't resent that. Honor it. Because what matters most is not how long someone stayed, but what they activated in you while they were here. Did they awaken your self-worth? Did they mirror your wounds? Did they make you feel seen in a way you had forgotten? That was the purpose. Every soul encounter is an echo of something bigger. A pattern unraveling, a subconscious script rewriting itself, a new version of you being born. So instead of asking, why didn't they stay, ask, what part of me did they help me find? Because maybe the friend who ghosted you taught you not to beg for loyalty. The lover who disappeared without goodbye taught you the power of self-closure. The mentor who disappointed you taught you to stop worshipping people and start trusting your own wisdom. This is not abandonment. This is spiritual redirection. Because when you chase those who were meant to leave, you delay the arrival of those who were meant to stay. So let them go. With love, with gratitude, with understanding. Not every chapter needs a villain. Some people exit your life peacefully because the soul's agreement was already fulfilled, and the more you honor the exit, the more aligned the next arrival will be. Chapter 6. When it's done, let them go. Sometimes they don't explain, they just disappear. No warning, no final conversation, no apology, just silence. And that silence, it echoes louder than any goodbye ever could. It leaves you searching, replaying, rereading old messages, overthinking every moment, trying to find the one thing you could have done differently, as if closure is something they owe you, as if their absence is a debt you must collect. But the truth? They didn't leave without a reason. They left because their role was fulfilled. Their presence served its purpose. Their scene in the movie of your life reached its final line. Carl Jung said it with piercing simplicity. What you resist persists. That means the more you fight to understand why they vanished, the more you trap yourself in a loop of obsession, of grief, of trying to rewrite a chapter that's already closed. The pain isn't always because they're gone. The real pain is your resistance to accept that they were never meant to stay. We grow up believing every connection must last. We're conditioned to believe that real love never leaves, that real friends never go silent. But that's just a story, not reality. Because in truth, some souls come to awaken you, not to accompany you. They arrive to shake you, to mirror something inside you, to push you out of your comfort zone, to trigger your evolution. And once the work is done, they vanish, not as punishment, as completion. But we hold on because we confuse longevity with value. We think the longer someone stays, the more meaningful it was, but sometimes it's the briefest connection that holds the deepest message. So when someone leaves without closure, without explanation, Let that be the closure. Understand this. Closure isn't something they give you. It's something you give yourself. You don't need their words to make peace with your path. You don't need their validation to reclaim your power. Instead, ask, what did their presence awaken in me? What version of myself was born through that pain? What did they mirror that I was too afraid to see on my own? That's where the healing lives. And here's the deeper truth. When you refuse to release someone whose role is done, you block the arrival of those who are truly aligned with your next chapter. Don't let nostalgia become a prison. Don't let memory keep you stuck in moments that were only meant to move you forward. Let them go, not with bitterness, not with anger, but with quiet gratitude for the lesson. Because sometimes the universe says they're not meant to explain, you're meant to evolve. So breathe, bow your head, say thank you, even if they never heard it. Because some of the deepest goodbyes don't sound like endings, they feel like rebirth. Final reveal. You are also a teacher in someone else's life. While you've been sitting in silence, overthinking their absence, someone else has been healing because of your presence. While you've been asking the universe, why did they enter my life? There's someone somewhere quietly whispering, why did you enter mine? We spend so much time analyzing who hurt us, who taught us, who transformed us, that we forget we have done the same. You weren't just a student in someone else's story. You were a mirror in theirs. You were the trigger, the comfort, the storm, the safe place, the mirror that revealed what they could no longer ignore. Yes, you. You were the reason someone confronted their fear. You were the reason someone let go of their past. You were the catalyst for a stranger's transformation, even if they never told you, even if they disappeared afterward, even if they'll never say your name again. That's the thing about soul contracts. They don't always come with a thank you, but their effect is permanent. Carl Jung didn't just study the conscious mind. He studied the soul's design, the way our lives interlock like puzzle pieces, the way pain connects us, the way we pass lessons between each other like sacred torches. We are not isolated incidents. We are not separate stories. We are threads in one divine tapestry, woven together by destiny, designed by a force deeper than logic. And in that tapestry, you're not just a receiver, you're a transmitter. You've been the person someone couldn't forget. You've been the one who shattered an illusion. You've been the quiet voice that sparked someone else's awakening. You don't need to be famous. You don't need to be loud. You don't even need to know you've done it. Because your energy, your growth, your light, your shadow, your words, your silence, they've all been lessons in someone else's classroom. So before you mourn who left, before you spiral into self-blame or regret, pause and realize this. You're part of the design too, not just as a seeker, but as a guide. You've been someone's turning point. You've been someone's sign from the universe. You've been someone's sacred detour, leading them out of patterns they never saw until you appeared. That's the quiet power of being human. That's the invisible work of the soul. So next time you feel small, forgotten, replaceable, remember, you are also the answer to someone else's question. You are also the lesson in someone else's growth. And even if they never say it out loud, you mattered. You changed something. You left fingerprints on their evolution. That's the beauty of it all. We're not just living, we're weaving. Every meeting, every heartbreak, every goodbye, a stitch in the soul's fabric. This isn't chaos. This is choreography. And Carl Jung knew that. He didn't just study the psyche, he mapped the blueprint of the soul's evolution. And if you're reading this, if you've ever wondered why you crossed paths with certain people, why you had to feel so much, lose so much, change so much, maybe it's because you weren't just meant to be transformed, you were meant to transform others. And that makes you a soul teacher too. Chapter 7. The wrong people teach you the right lessons. They ghosted you, they lied. They loved you just enough to keep you hanging, but not enough to stay. They made promises they never intended to keep. They left you wondering, was any of it even real? And the worst part, they never gave you closure. They walked away as if you never mattered, leaving behind shattered pieces of your heart, while you stayed up, night after night, trying to glue yourself back together with questions. But here's the uncomfortable truth. They weren't a mistake, they were a message. Carl Jung said, "What you deny in yourself will appear in the people you attract." Let that hit hard. That person who disrespected you? They reflected your lack of self-respect, the one who abandoned you when you needed them most. They mirrored your unconscious fear of being alone, the one who emotionally manipulated you. They triggered the part of you that still believes love must be earned through suffering. These people weren't here to love you. They were here to wake you the hell up. Because the most powerful lessons don't come wrapped in peace. They come wrapped in pain. The wrong people are often the perfect mirrors. They expose the parts of you you've ignored, denied, or sugar-coated for too long. And while your ego calls it betrayal, your soul calls it breakthrough. You didn't lose them. You found yourself. You found the version of you that tolerates too much. You found the unhealed wounds still begging to be seen. You found the inner child still waiting for someone to choose them first. And now that the mirror has shown you what's bleeding, you have two choices. Keep blaming the mirror or finally start healing the wound. You see, it's easy to say, why did they hurt me? But the real question, the healing question is, what part of me allowed it? Because when you take radical responsibility, you reclaim your power. No more victim stories. No more blaming them. No more waiting for closure from someone who was never capable of giving it. You're not weak for trusting them. You're not foolish for loving deeply. You're human. But now, you're becoming conscious. And Jung always emphasized this. There is no coming to consciousness without pain. This pain you feel? It's not a setback, it's a doorway to boundaries, to self-worth, to emotional mastery, because the lesson they carried wasn't about them. It was always about you. So stop trying to get back what broke you. Stop replaying old memories like they'll suddenly change. Instead, ask what the universe was trying to show you through them. Because when you finally get the lesson, you'll stop attracting it in different bodies. That's the gift of the wrong people. Chapter 8. Energy doesn't lie. Souls feel before minds understand. Before your mind forms a thought. Before your ears catch a word. Before your eyes lock into someone else's gaze. Your soul has already decided how it feels. And that feeling? It isn't random, it's resonance. Have you ever met someone and instantly felt heavy, like a fog entered the room? Or someone who said nothing, but your heart exhaled just because they were near? That's not superstition. That's energetic intelligence. That's the truth your nervous system knows before your brain catches up. Carl Jung believed in psychic fields of energy, that every person carries with them an invisible force made of trauma, memories, beliefs, pain, joy, and truth. And when that field collides with yours, there's a silent conversation that begins. You can fake a smile, you can say the right words, you can wear the mask, but your energy always speaks first. And the soul, it listens. You feel it when someone's words say, "I love you," but your body tenses up. You feel it when someone is being polite, but it feels like your light is being pulled inward. You feel it when someone gives you compliments, yet you walk away feeling empty, not empowered. Why? Because energy doesn't lie. Jung knew this, that our unconscious mind stores more data than we can ever process consciously. It reads facial micro-expressions. It decodes tone of voice. It scans the room for emotional patterns. It feels what's behind the words. That's why you've trusted people who seemed nice but drained you, and avoided others who seemed harsh but carried a quiet safety you couldn't explain. That's soul recognition. That's vibrational alignment. And it's why silence often reveals more than conversation ever could. Energy is always talking. The question is, are you finally ready to listen? Because the most powerful form of intuition isn't logic. It's the body's reaction to invisible truth. That uneasiness in your gut, that tension in your shoulders, that strange feeling that you can't put your finger on. That's your soul alerting you. And the more awake you become, the less tolerance you'll have for people whose energy doesn't match their smile. Some people carry chaos in calm faces. They've mastered the performance of kindness, but their presence still tightens your chest. Others carry peace in stormy eyes. They've been through hell, but when you're near them, you feel safe, seen, home. So trust the signal, not the script. The ones who drain you for a reason. They're leaking wounds into every room they enter. The ones who energize you, they've done the inner work. They've transmuted their darkness into presence. And here's the deepest truth Jung would want you to remember. Who looks outside dreams? Who looks inside awakens. When you awaken, you stop asking, why do I feel this way around them? And start trusting, if my soul flinches, that's enough. If my spirit expands, that's sacred. No logic needed, no explanation required. You are energy, you are frequency, you are vibration. And the people in your life, they're either raising your vibration or poisoning it. So protect your peace, protect your space, protect your energy like it's your oxygen, because it is. The soul always knows, even when the mind is in denial, even when the heart is confused, even when the mouth says, I'm fine. Your vibration doesn't lie. So trust it. You don't need closure. You don't need proof. You don't need evidence. If it feels wrong, it is. If it feels right, protect it. If it feels like home, honor it. That's how awakened souls move, not through words, but through energetic wisdom. Chapter 9. Letting go is a spiritual gift, not a loss. They left? Let them. No begging, no chasing, no bargaining with fate, because if they could walk away from the most honest version of you, they were never aligned with the most awakened version of you. Carl Jung once said, you are not what happened to you, you are what you choose to become. And in those words lies the secret. Letting go isn't about losing them, it's about choosing you. It's about realizing that the act of release isn't a breakdown, it's a breakthrough. It's not abandonment, it's alignment. You see, we confuse grief with regret. We think pain means we lost something irreplaceable. But the truth? Grief doesn't mean they were meant to stay. Grief just means your soul upgraded its standards, and now it's mourning the old version of you that didn't know better. Yes, you loved them, yes, you tried. But what you really miss is the comfort of who you were before you knew your worth. That's why letting go hurts so much, not because they were your future, but because they were part of your past identity, and you were still attached to the version of you that needed their validation to feel whole. But now, you've outgrown that chapter. You've risen above that story. You've stepped into a new frequency where begging becomes healing, and chasing becomes choosing. You don't need closure from them. You need completion within yourself. And that's where the spiritual gift begins. Letting go isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's the moment your soul whispers, enough. We're done apologizing for our standards. Because here's what most people don't realize. Letting go isn't about losing someone. It's about releasing the version of yourself that tolerated their absence while they were still present. That's where the transformation lives. You stop crying over someone who was emotionally unavailable and start asking yourself why you accepted breadcrumbs as a feast. You stop writing paragraphs to someone who responds with silence and begin rewriting your identity as someone who no longer begs for attention they deserve by default. You stop needing them to say sorry because you're too busy saying thank you to yourself for finally walking away. And the universe, it rewards this kind of release, because the day you let go of what you were forcing, you create space for what's been waiting. The right people don't come when your heart is still clinging to ghosts. They come when your hands are empty, and your soul is ready to receive something that matches its truth. So let them go. Bless them even. Not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. You deserve a life that doesn't feel like survival. You deserve love that doesn't require shrinking. You deserve alignment that doesn't need explanation. This is your spiritual liberation, not because it doesn't hurt, but because it heals. Because for the first time, you're no longer saying, why did they leave me? You're saying, why did I stay so long after I saw the truth? And that question? That's the beginning of power, of purpose, of peace. So here's the final reminder Jung would whisper into your rising soul. Your vision will become clear only when you look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakens. And maybe, just maybe, letting go wasn't the ending. It was the awakening. Chapter 11. The Return to Self. You were the answer all along. You kept chasing signs, kept begging the universe for a message, kept hoping someone, anyone, would come save you. But here's the truth. Jung knew all along. You were never supposed to be rescued. You were supposed to remember. Remember that the power you were praying for was already within you, the healing you searched for in others. It was sleeping in your own bones, the love you begged for. It was buried under years of self-rejection. You were not lost, you were waiting for this moment, this awakening, this return to self. Carl Jung said, "He who looks outside dreams, he who looks inside awakens." And now, you're awakening. You've stopped asking broken people to reflect your wholeness. You've stopped assigning your worth to how lovable you were to others. You've stopped mistaking attention for connection. And for the first time, you're listening to your breath, to your boundaries, to your own soul whispering, "Welcome home." Because that's what healing really is, a return, a remembering, not of who the world told you to be, but of who you always were before the world interrupted. You're not rebuilding, you're revealing. You're unlearning everything that made you forget your own divinity. All those nights you thought were breakdowns, they were rebirths. Every time you cried for someone to choose you, that was your soul begging you to choose yourself. Every time you were abandoned, it was life removing what wasn't aligned with your rising.